I'm messing with stuff I shouldn't be messing with. Okay, I think we're good. What is up, you guys? Hello, hello. Y'all let me know in the chat if anything looks weird in my video. It looks fine to me, but I just messed with something on my OBS thing and it looks funny over there. So we'll see. We'll see. Me and my technology issues. Oh boy, you guys. All right, I'm going to start this off by naming some signs that came through. I love synchronicity. It genuinely gives me life because to me it's just that connection between you and your source through life, right? Becoming obvious, becoming loud, becoming just like, oh my god, I can't deny this, right? So I thought it would be fun to pull some signs that might really, really resonate with this message. However, these signs are not exclusive. So if you do not resonate with any of these signs, that does not mean this message isn't for you. These energies just might need a little extra confirmation. So, and as always, my friends, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And for those of you who do not know me, I am Hannah. Nice to meet you. If you're new here, if you're returning, then welcome. I'm really, really excited. I'm always excited about these messages. I never stay in the surface, if you guys have not figured that out yet. And today is no different. In fact, this message might be a bit uncomfortable today. I'm not going to lie to you. But yeah, let's get started. So we've got Taurus, we've got Capricorn and Cancer that came out. I even heard maybe someone with a Taurus moon, Capricorn moon, Cancer moon, something like that. Or anything strong, any placements that are strong like that, or even Chiron. Chiron did come up today when I was doing my studies, and it seems to be kind of like the thread that overlaps and everything else. And for those of you who don't know what Chiron is, if you are able to look up your astrology, great. If not, don't fucking worry about it. It's not relevant to you and you don't need it. But Chiron is that place in our charts. It's literally shaped like a key, which I always thought was so significant because to me, it's kind of like we're coming in to unlock something. And this energy, this placement is a part of how we're going to unlock it. And the unlocking happens within, right? So wherever your Chiron is, and you can, this is something that you can look at your life and see without looking at your chart, honestly. For me, mine is in my second house. So money and sense of worth, sense of value has always been a big teacher for me. So your Chiron placement, maybe you've got Chiron in the second house as well, or maybe in Taurus, Capricorn, or Cancer, anything like that. Or maybe it's just like a big theme for you right now. I don't know. But also you may be seeing 1010, 1212, 222, or any, you know, mixture of those numbers. Those are all big ones that popped up today whenever I was studying. And some things that, as we get into this message, I'd love to hear from you guys. You're welcome to share with me, as I always say. But some things, let me back up. When we get into this message, we're going to be calling out something that's a little uncomfortable in your life. And some of those things that came through were obviously money. It's a big one for anybody and everybody, I feel like. Also, there's something about like a path that someone is feeling called to take a step into. Maybe it's something that they feel like, oh, I saw a vision of me doing this, but it feels too big to actually embody. It feels too big to actually say yes to. And funny enough, whenever I was opening up my little Work Your Light Oracle, because I wanted to read the cards before we started this, and I opened the book up to the page of the card that says yes. I don't have the card out, but I opened up to it and it felt really important. And the whole page just said yes, 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 yes. Don't overthink it, just say yes. So that's a message for someone right off the bat. There's something that someone's being called to. And to them, this path feels big. It feels big. It feels bigger than them. And it looks very different than what they've known. Like for me, like the work I'm doing now, this felt very big to me at one point in time. Everything that I'm now doing, it just like was so out of reach at one point in time. Even my poetry, at one point in time, it felt like this is not something I'm qualified for. Like there's a lot of imposter syndrome coming through. But that yes was specifically for that person or those people. Just say yes to it because it's not too big for you. It feels big because of where you're looking at it from. You've kind of got it on this pedestal, this version of you on this pedestal. But it's inside of you and it's just buried under a little bit of fear and some emotional tension that you're kind of holding on to. And that's just a good tapping session away, my friend. Also the other thing that was coming through, and when I say these things are tender points in your life, and obviously take whichever one resonates with you, and yours, I might not even mention it here, and that's okay. Trust yourself. But I mean, these are parts of your life that there's a sense of rejection around. Like you're rejecting your current money state. And maybe I understand that. Like I said, money's been my biggest teacher. So I understand that there might be a sense of this isn't good enough. Um, the what you're being called to kind of thing, that path that you're being called to, you know, that or even the spotlight that you're afraid to step into, that you're being called to step into. Someone's rejecting that part of themselves for out of fear and a misunderstanding of themselves. Okay. Meaning you're not looking at yourself from the truest perspective. You're looking at yourself from a borrowed perception of yourself, something you borrowed from someone that raised you, or, from a tumultuous experience you had that really hurt you and you didn't know how to process that experience. Also, the other thing was someone's rejecting their own opinions, their own ideas, their own voice, something like that, something in the realm of Gemini, something about the way that, like, I almost saw someone having something to say, having something to share, maybe writing, I don't know. But they were like, mine's not good enough. Like, no one's going to take me seriously. No one's going to listen to me. No one's going to blah, blah, blah. And that comes from a place of real experience where you've experienced that. But that experience didn't happen to actually make you think you're not good enough. It did happen to activate something deeper in you. And that's actually where I'm going to talk about this first card that I have out here. So we have the initiation. I hope it focuses. The initiation. And the key thing here, so it says rite of passage, you're going somewhere sacred. The key thing here I want to talk about with the initiation is this sense of discomfort. This major sense of discomfort. So, in other words, whatever it is that you're dealing with right now, a part of what's making you reject whatever it is, um, it's because it's really uncomfortable for you. Like in your body, in your nervous system, you're uncomfortable. And a part of you doesn't feel safe um seeing this in a different way, seeing yourself in a different way, or taking that step, taking that leap of faith mentally in your perception. You don't feel safe doing that. And the other card that came out is dance. And this is so beautiful. I feel like I was feeling this hint of like dancing is specific to someone actually, like the actual practice of dancing or the art of dancing. There's something there. I feel like someone is going to listen to this at some point and be like, "Oh my god." Like it feels like it has to do with that what you're called to kind of thing. But take that if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. Also, it's just the dance card was also just again reinforcing that sense of anxiety, that sense of discomfort. And so there could be this like stagnancy about your energy. And so spirit's essentially saying just move your body. Like it can be that simple to shift your energy. Move your body. Literally shake it the fuck out. But those are some of the cards that we have out to get us started. And I don't feel like this message is going to be super long today, to be honest with you. but let's get into it. So I have my notes here in my notebook. Okay. So, like I've already been talking about when I was talking about these little specific things, the question that was coming to mind, the question that we want to bring awareness to ourselves today is, what are you rejecting? And in that rejection, what are you trying to change so that way you can feel more lovable, acceptable, peaceful in your own skin, in your life? What are you rejecting and attempting to change for the sake of acceptability, lovability, and peace? What is that for you? And if you're like writing stuff down as we do this, which I encourage you to, or at least have paper handy so you can write down anything that you feel like you need to revisit later. This would be one of those things. It's like, ask yourself, what is that? So for me, for a long time, it's been money. And at one point in time, it was my body. And that's something I've been healing a lot around, is my perception of my body and my perception of my money. And there was this message about what you perceive to be ugly or gross or unacceptable about yourself and your life is actually holding something sacred. So there's this big word. The big word is misunderstanding. Like the way that you're looking at it, because you're looking at it through this lens of fear, which is, there's no, and I want you to be really aware if you start shaming or like blaming or faulting yourself here, because this isn't something that you're consciously choosing to do. It's just a symptom of emotional pain that's hiding inside. And I actually encourage you, if it feels good, to tap while we're talking about this, if this is resonating. If something's really, if it's stirring as we're talking, tap through it. Or if that discomfort and that anxiety is really present within you, tap as we're talking. Tap as we're sitting here together, because there's co-regulation that can happen here. And tapping can just really open you up to that. And of course, it makes you feel safe. It teaches your body in the moment, we're safe, everything's okay. And it helps you metabolize those emotions. So that way they're not like locking you into these stories of, I'm unacceptable. This is unacceptable. This is not something that I can love or appreciate as it is. And there was also this message coming through about like a belief that someone has. This is a collective thing for us, you guys. We feel like it's more responsible for us to be afraid. Like, okay, I'll use my money example. If I look at my bank account and I have a vision in my head of like where I feel like it should be, and then I look at my bank account and it's not there, then that my this belief says I need to react to what is. I need to react to what I'm physically seeing. Don't trust a sense of like abundance inside. Like, don't trust the feeling inside that says maybe it's going to be okay. No, look at this physical thing and let it tell you how to feel and react accordingly, because that's the responsible thing to do. That's the misunderstanding here. That's a big misunderstanding that we're living in collectively. We think it's more responsible to worry and fret and fear and be vigilant about all the things that could go wrong. We think that's responsible, but it's not. It's actually what keeps us locked into circumstances that we find unfavorable, because our energy, our state of being, life is echoing that, it's reflecting that. And, so if we think that the responsible thing to do is to worry, and that, because why else would we do it? Think about it. Why else would we do that? Why else would we stay in a perpetual state of fear and worry unless we think it's keeping us alive? And the harsh truth is that that's actually draining us. It's draining the life force. It's draining our creativity. It makes our body just not work as well. It makes our system kind of turn on itself. It makes our brain, our prefrontal cortex stop working as well. There's a lot of ill effects that happen as a result of consistent worry and stress. And I'm not trying to scare anybody or like, be anything like that. This is an awareness that I had to wake up to. I had to really get honest with myself at one point in time and realize like, I'm not actually helping myself by doing this. I'm actually keeping myself stuck. And the thing that helped break that spell for me was consistently tapping, like daily tapping. And that's because, again, like I said, tapping helps you feel safe. And it teaches you to feel safe without anything needing to change. So safety then becomes yours. It becomes sourced from within instead of sourced from a circumstance changing, which you really have no control over. You only have control, in a sense, over your state of being. And if that's something that you're just abandoning, then that's an opportunity for you to get more present with that process, because that's ultimately where you're going to create the changes that you're looking for. It starts within. And that's not a cliche anymore. That's just a fact, and we have, if you're someone like me and you need the science, you need the logic side of that wisdom to inspire you into action, then so be it. Go educate yourself. That's exactly what I did. I think the book that changed everything for me was Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. That made shit make sense. So maybe do some reading if you need to. But if anything, do some fucking tapping. But okay. Where else here? So let's go back to that question. What are you rejecting and attempting to change? Because you think by changing this thing or rejecting this part of yourself, because others maybe have rejected it, you think that then you'll be lovable, acceptable, and peaceful. But here's the harsh truth, you guys, that I need to say to you. The place from which you are pursuing this change, and I'll say this a different way in a second, is the exact thing that you're actually in pursuit of. If you're moving, if you're taking action, if you're making decisions because you're in a state of self-rejection, because you're in a state of, just self-criticism, and you're saying, this isn't good enough. I can't have it like this. This isn't like, this isn't good. Something bad's going to happen if I don't do something. And you're moving from that fear, like the motivation's coming from fear, the inspiration's coming from fear, from worry, from negativity. You're on that same path. Like you're not actually leaving that path. Even if you get the money, the recognition or whatever, it's that whole, what you think is ugly actually has beauty to it. What you think is beautiful actually has its own kind of ugliness in it. And that's not like a black and white statement. That's speaking to the part of ourselves that's pursuing something because we're rejecting something else. And I feel like every school of wisdom points to the same kind of thing. Acceptance first. Always acceptance first. Accept what is before you attempt to shift anything, because non-resistance, you want to get out of that place of resistance. Because when you're resisting it, it's persisting. I mean, that is very true. And if you really do any kind of self-reflection, you'll find that. You'll discover that for yourself. But so if you're attempting to change a money situation, and the thing that moves you more than anything is the fear of the lack and the sense of the lack, and wanting to crawl out of your skin to get away from this lack, crawl out of your life to get away from this lack, no matter what solution you create, you're essentially going to discover more lack there too, even if the circumstance looks drastically different. And I feel like I'm saying this message is coming through because who I'm speaking to, the collective I'm speaking to, like going back to that initiation, you're going somewhere sacred energy. You're not here. You're not in this embodiment to just manifest more money or to manifest this or that. Like I keep saying this, but it's true. Like you're here for something deeper. You want to do it right. You want to do it in a way that's sustainable, that's meaningful, that's aligned with you. You don't want to borrow anything anymore. I feel like you've already done this. It makes me think of when I was told like, oh, get a regular job and like, do this, do that, and you'll be happy, whatever, the whole fucking age old story. And I surrendered to that and I gave into it. and I needed to get out of the lack that I was in. And so I found what looked like on paper, ooh, this looks perfect. This looks great. This looks like something I can grow into. Ooh, it looks sustainable. And it ended up being something that depleted my fucking soul. It gave me money, but it made me want to die. I know that's intense, but literally that's how I felt. I wanted to die. I'd rather be broke. I came to the conclusion that I'd rather be broke than do that. And it wasn't that there was anything wrong with the job itself. It just wasn't aligned with me. It was aligned with the version of me that felt like she was lacking. And that's spirits wanting to protect someone from that. And I think whoever I'm speaking to, that's just confirmation for you. You're like, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not trying to do that again. Like, I'm not trying to, we did that. We lived that story. We're not trying to do it again. So I'll take the long way around. Thank you. Um, yeah, because it's about your state of being. It's about who you're being. And there's going back to the beauty in what you think is ugly. For me, it could be easy for me to look at a financial situation and say, oh, yeah, that's ugly. That's not acceptable. But really, if I zoom out and I'm really, really, really fucking honest with myself, which is what some of you just need to be, and it's uncomfortable, whatever honesty you're being called into is uncomfortable. And that's okay. That's okay. But when I zoom out and really look at it, the state of my money for all this time and like the way it's been is the most beautiful thing that I could have experienced because it truly did drive me back home to myself. It drove me into an authenticity that I was starving for. It drove me into a comfortability with myself that I was starving for, that I wouldn't let myself have unless the money changed. But thank God the money never really changed because every time it didn't, every time that sense of disappointment hit, every time that sense of, ugh, I needed more relief. I needed relief. And I realized like eventually something broke and it was like, this circumstance is not giving me relief. Where am I going to get it? Oh, right here within me. And that was the whole point. So it's really just been the greatest gift that I could have ever asked for. It's the gift I didn't know I needed, the gift I didn't know I wanted. So the same thing for you. Like, what is it? What is this thing that you're rejecting? It might just be the exact thing that you've been wanting because it's taking you deeper. It's taking you into a deeper, more unconditional love for yourself in life. And it's taking you into this beautiful relationship with life that you want. Because I feel like this collective who resonates with me and my energy, we're tired of surface level connections, meaning the spirit of it is fucking denied. And we only look at the flesh. We only judge each other by the external. We only judge each other by the bank account, by the status, by this or that, by how many likes you get on your post or how many followers you have. Like, I feel like this collective, we're done with that. We're done with that. Like, we'd rather be alone. But we're not really alone. And that's why we say that, because really we have spirit within us and it's all around us. And the only reason why it's felt hollow before is because we weren't aware of it. We weren't practicing the awareness of it, of its presence. But the problem isn't the circumstance. It's your perception of it. That's the big through line here. It's your perception of it. I wrote, stop your pursuit of abundance or whatever it is for you and ask yourself, what is this apparent lack or whatever yours is? What is it teaching me about abundance, about myself? What is this experience teaching me about myself? What is it pointing me towards? And you can discern by looking at, okay, is it something that I can't, if the first answer is a list of things you can't control, then keep going. Keep going until you get to the point of what you can control, which is within you. It's your perception. Little hint. Yeah, your consciousness is using this circumstance, this fear, this thing to enlighten you about something. And I feel like this is that whole thing of like you're getting what you asked for. It just didn't look like what you thought. You know what I mean? But okay, I'm gonna read this book to you because it just feels like it's gonna say it, and even better than I can. Okay, this is the initiation card. There is a temple in India that looks terrifying from the outside, but inside it is filled with jewels and is one of the most loving places imaginable. This represents the journey that the soul pilgrim is required to take to reach somewhere sacred. But only the initiated can enter. Perhaps that's where you are right now. You are being tested, initiated, because you are headed somewhere sacred. Initiations require that we cross the threshold from one world or state of being to the next. Okay, I'm going to pause there because, again, let's ground that a little bit. State of being. That's such a call to action right there, friends. Initiations require that we cross the threshold from one world or state of being to the next. So when we can only see lack, it is because our state of being is operating in lack, meaning we're practicing thoughts, emotions, inner imaginings. Like we're telling stories in the back of our minds and we're not giving conscious awareness to it. We're practicing these stories in the back of our minds that resemble lack. And there was this quote, I just posted it on my notes not too long ago. It was by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And it said, a thought, oh my gosh, what was it? Hold on. I'm going to go to it and find it. Give me a second, guys. Okay. Thoughts cause biochemical reactions in the brain that release chemical signals. And those chemical signals make the body feel exactly the way you were just thinking. So, a state of being is ultimately created by your habitual thoughts and feelings. And your behaviors are pretty subconscious. You know, we think we're making conscious decisions all the time, but a lot of the times we're making subconscious decisions that are just automatically happening, rippling out from us from these states of being. So maybe this next step for you is to take your attention. I really feel this in my body. It's to take your attention off of the thing that you think is wrong and instead use it as a teacher. How is it making you feel in a sense, right? That's how we usually interpret it. This thing's making me feel this way. This situation's making me feel this way. What is that feeling? Let that clue you into your state of being. And then I want you to start training yourself on how to feel differently. And you do that by shifting your focus. And you do it every single fucking day. And that's, again, that's where tapping comes in. Because the thing, I tried to do this for so long and I couldn't because I had so much resistance in my body. Like my nervous system was just like, hell no, we're not thinking differently. We're going to keep being hyper vigilant. We're going to keep worrying about what's going to happen. We're going to keep thinking about what's going wrong. And so I had to tap every single day on every fucking emotion that came up that was painful to me. So that way I could metabolize it and let it go. And within a pretty short amount of time, I think, considering how long I spent struggling, you know, like I'm talking 8 years struggling and 1 year actually healing through tapping. And like suddenly all the shit that I was struggling with just wasn't there anymore because I let it go. The tapping helped me let it go when I couldn't just let it go on my own. And you know, that was hard. That was a hard journey, but the tapping just made it so much easier. And now I've gotten to the point where I can finally focus. I can finally like direct my attention consciously and think about the things that I want to think about. But the trap there is thinking that the external needs to reflect that or validate it. So your work, I feel like this is like a real big call to action for someone. Your work is to sit down with yourself, create space every day, morning and night, or at least at night. Okay. And, you know, journal or visualize, play in your mind, not to make something happen, but to shift how you feel. And just notice as you change what you're focusing on, notice how your body is changing its state. And remember that quote that I gave you. Your thoughts are essentially creating how you feel. In other words, what you're focusing on internally is creating how you feel. In your body, those feelings are so supportive and they're telling you, hey, my love, you're focusing on something that's not really aligned with you. You're focusing on something that's not really true. And that's why it doesn't feel good. So let's shift. And the hardest part is shifting. And I tell people around me now, like I tell my friend all the time, I'm like, chill out on your TikTok, chill out on watching short form content. If you struggle with focus, chill out on short form content, okay? Like you need to practice extending your focus because that's going to help you do this. But anyway, okay, let's go back to this. So initiations require that we cross the threshold from one world of or state of being to the next. We are called to face what scares us and have to be willing to lose it all in order to gain a new way of being, of safety, of security, of depth, of meaning. And I felt someone contracts at that idea. Oh my God, I'm going to lose it all. Um, Sorry, I just saw that one out. We're back. Okay. So in that space, this is where I want you to tap. Okay. Like hit your karate chop point. Hit it. Tap on the karate chop point. And this is how you can show up to this, or write this down so you can do it later. But tap on the karate chop point and just say something to yourself along the lines of, even though I feel this fear in my body, and go to it in your mind. Like take your mind to it in your body. Even though I feel this fear in my body, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I feel this fear that I'm going to lose it all, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Because how you feel is not the problem. It's because your focus is on fear. Your focus is on something going wrong. And love is the medicine. Compassion for yourself is the medicine. And presence. Because ultimately, I know this is a little bit more lofty to say, but it's so true. You are just a remnant of the infinite. You are the micro to the macro, okay? As above, so below, as within, so without. However you want to phrase it, however you want to look at it. But the bottom line is you are an expression of source energy, of infinite intelligence, of infinite love. You are that. Your body knows the way. Your body knows how to get you to where you need to be in the physical realm. But your job in that, your role in that is to allow it to guide you. And when we're in the stress state, the fear state, we can't access that guidance. And so that's why we tap. We tap to bring ourselves back into a physiological state of safety. So that way you can then relax and you can access your own truth, your own guidance, your body's wisdom. Okay. So that's something that you can do on your own. And I'm also going to link, um, I guess I closed the tab, I'll get it back. But I'm also going to link in this replay an EFT audio that I have, and it's called Safe to Trust. And the script is all around releasing the compulsion to worry, to fear. And it helps you rewire your brain around that to create a permanent change so you're not locked into that response, that stress response. And it makes it make more sense, gives you clarity through that. So I'll link that for you guys if you want to download it. But okay, where were we? We are called to face what scares us and have to be willing to lose it all in order to gain a new way of being, of safety, of security, of depth, of meaning. And by the way, a lot of shit coming off this line. By the way, you're never losing what actually matters here. If you lose anything, it's because it wasn't real. It wasn't rooted in source. It was rooted in that ego energy, that part of you that didn't trust your real self, didn't trust your true self, didn't trust your creator. And you created these things then, these perceptions, these illusions in your mind, in your world, as a way to fill in that void. So if anything goes, it was meant to go. It was never yours to begin with. But okay. Initiations, like rites of passage, mark the shift from one age to the next. and can take place because of emotional turmoil, great loss, grief, or devastation. But it is through wait, hold on. But it is through the seeming hardship, the thing that we think we don't want, the thing that we think we need to reject, right? That our heart cracks open and our spirit is invested to step forward. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. We take this sacred voyage into more of who we are and who we came here to be. Because those of you who are coming to these messages, who are resonating with what I'm saying right now, you truly are here to experience a deeper connection with yourself. You're not here to play by someone else's rules or just like follow the status quo. I remember when I first started my spiritual awakening journey, like not on purpose either. It just started happening. It was not a conscious decision. But I remember just realizing that, oh my God, I think everything that I thought my life was supposed to be, what was demonstrated to me by those who came before, felt like a prison. And I thought there was something wrong with me for not wanting it. No, I was just being called into a more rich experience of life. Okay. It can be painful and scary, but once we begin the journey, we can be more ourselves than ever before. Mm. If you are in the middle of an initiation right now, you will get through it, and one day soon you will bless the thing that broke you down and cracked you open because the world needs you open. You are going somewhere sacred. It will be worth it, and you're closer than you think. God, that's beautiful. Wow. That's so fucking beautiful. Okay. Now, to finish this off, I pulled some cards from my affirmation deck from the Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn, if I'm saying that right. And these were so on the fucking nose, you guys. These are just perfect because, especially because I was talking about someone doesn't trust their own voice, their own opinions, their own perception. They're not trusting what they're being called into. So, okay, I'm going to read these to you. And I want you to repeat them with me, okay? To yourself out loud. Use your voice if you can. If you can't, whatever. But really like give what we're saying here together all of your attention. So I'm going to read it all together first and then I'm going to say it again slowly so you can repeat it with me. Let the God in this child, and you can replace these words if you want to. I like source. You can say God, whatever. So let the God in this child have perfect expression. Let the divine design of this child's mind, body, and affairs be made manifest throughout life, throughout eternity. And I know that feels lofty, but just go with me. Okay. Now repeat it after me, okay? Actually, put your hand on your heart too. I'm feeling that. Put your hand on your heart and like close your eyes as you say it if you can. Let the God in this child have perfect expression. Let the divine design of this child's mind, body, and affairs be made manifest throughout life, throughout eternity. Okay, that's our first one. And now this one's really important. If that one didn't resonate, that's okay, leave it. But this one is really important, you guys. So really say this one with me if you're not. And actually, I encourage you to write this down. I'll try to remember to put it in the replay so that way if you want, you guys can just copy and paste, put it in a reminder in your phone so it goes off every day, however you want to do it. But okay. This is really about surrendering, right? Surrendering to the intelligence that you have within you and letting it guide you. Okay. Infinite Spirit, reveal to me the way. Let me know if there is anything for me to do. I demand a definite lead. Okay, so now we're going to repeat that one together again. Put your hand on your heart, connect to your body. Infinite Spirit, reveal to me the way. Let me know if there is anything for me to do. I demand a definite lead. And you're going to know what the right thing is because it's going to come through you. And it's going to move something in you that you're not used to feeling move. I'm not saying you never felt it, but it's going to move something that you're not used to being moved by. Because you remember we've been talking about being moved by fear, being moved by worry and negativity. This is a different texture entirely. This is that, ooh, I got to do that. Or someone says something or you read something and it's like, oh my God, that answers something that I asked. Oh my God, that feels like something I need to do. And the thing here, the thing that you need to take away from that is the understanding that you have the answer. Your body has the answer. You know, one of my clients always says, "I don't know," or that used to be her thing is, "I don't know." We hear that a lot less now these days because she trusts herself more. But it was always, "I don't know," and it's on the surface that might feel true, but underneath it, you do know. You do know, and by putting your focus on the perception that I do know, it doesn't mean you have to have the answer right now, but it opens your body up to give it to you. I remember I created something a long time ago purely from that, just playing, just playing with it, just to see. And I was like, all right, let's see if I really do know. And I just kept saying, every time I heard, I don't know what to do, I changed it. I said, no, I do know. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly what to say. I know exactly what's right. I know exactly what next step to take. And I would just let myself sit in that for a little bit. And literally, inspiration would follow. And it would just be this joyful, like euphoric, kind of like delicious, ooh, gotta do that. Feels so good to do that. And that's the energy. That's the energy you want to create from. That's the energy you want to move from. And that can be fear can get in the way of that. That can be hard to access at first. So tap through your discomfort, my friends, okay? Tap through any fears that you have coming up. Help your body get into a state of ease and relaxation, independent of any changes. Forget the circumstance, okay? Just for a minute, like just put it down and self soothe right where you are. Create unconditional peace and safety. Tapping helps you do that. That way you can actually receive that lead. Okay. And then repeat that to yourself. I know what to do. And I'm going to know as soon as it comes up. Like as soon as I feel it, I'm going to know. And it's just going to fucking move you. And it's going to feel good. But okay. I'm feeling this come to a close here, my friends. I'll give you guys a few minutes while I put my cards away. If you have any questions or if you want to share anything that resonated with you, you're also welcome to private message me if you feel so called to. Oh, and while I'm doing this, um, don't forget on Saturday we are doing a tapping circle, a virtual tapping circle over Google Meet. It's free, and I have like 2 spaces left out of the 5. So if anybody feels called to join me this weekend, we start at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and we're gonna spend. I mean, we'll see how it goes, but I've reserved 2 hours of my time for it to just be there with each other. It's called Come As You Are. And that's literally what the invitation is. Come as you are. And just let's come hang out together and let's talk about what's burdening us and tap through it together. That's the goal. So if that resonates with you and you want to be a part of that, you're welcome to RSVP. I'll make sure I link it in the replay. It's also I've listed it on not listed. I posted it on my notes too. So if you want to do it right after this, if you don't want to wait for the replay, you can go RSVP from my Substack page. Um, yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, and of course I'll have the Safe to Trust EFT posted as well. I think I'll post that on my notes as well, just so you guys can have access to it before the replay. I don't know when I'm posting the replay. It might be tomorrow, it might be Saturday. I don't know. But okay. I love you guys. This was fun. And I'm sure I'll see you next week for another live channeling and tapping. But okay. Mwah.